Dave Aranda enters a pivotal season for his career as Baylor's head coach. It's going to be an interesting year after kind of a down year in 2023, and the Bears are expecting to take a step forward with the returning talent that we'll talk about today. That is definitely possible. Getting to Quan Finn in the transfer portal was one of Aranda's best additions to this team. Baylor needed a player that's going to be a difference maker at the quarterback position, both as a passer and a runner. And Finn appears to be exactly that. He took a step forward as a passer with Toledo last year, threw for over 2,600 yards and 22 touchdowns, while also rushing for 563 yards and seven more scores. He is a dual threat that I think this team desperately needs. And it's going to be fun to see what he can do for this offense because the passing attack was solid for Baylor last year, but the rushing attack, despite the talent that they have, left something to be desired. Defense is also a group that needs to take a step forward. This is not what we expected when Dave Aranda took over. We expected the defense to play at a better level than it has, and you have talent returning that is looking to improve. Matt Jones is back for another year as a leader of the Baylor defense, someone who can be disruptive, and that's been proven over his career. 82 tackles last year, 11 and a half tackles for loss. He is a natural playmaker at 6'3", 246 pounds, and he is expected to get this team back up to speed. You have plenty of talent to replace on the defensive side of the ball if you're Baylor, but you have players like Matt Jones that return that can get everybody up to speed. The offensive line plays a huge role for Baylor's offense to get going again. Kaden Siraki is another player that will help with this team, especially a team that needs to get better in terms of running the football, but keeping that balance and still being able to throw the ball really well too. Now he is someone who is going to play a role on the interior. You have a couple of returning players on that offensive line that are going to play big roles in getting that offense to be explosive. And again, I think that having Quan Finn makes your offensive line better because he gets you out of some jams, but also gets the benefit from some of the guys that you have returning up front. Cornerback Kaden Jenkins comes back from a solid year in which he had 3 interceptions. And this is a defense that, like I said, needs to take a step forward. And the secondary has plenty of talent. So this is a group that should be good against the pass. It's just a matter of can the defense get to the quarterback? Can the front seven get to the quarterback? And can we see enough from that group to help them out? Because there's, like I said, plenty of talent. And especially in this Big 12 that we're going to see this year, there's going to be plenty of challenges for this secondary. So if that group up front can get home, then this group will look even better. You have plenty of talent coming back. You have guys like Devin Bobby, you have Devin Lemire coming back, you have Kendrick Simpkins and Cameron Jenkins. You have plenty of talent, and Kaden Jenkins is just one of those players that's going to stand out, and he's going to help this group be really good in 2024. Baylor's looking to be more explosive, plain and simple, on the offensive side of the ball, and the passing attack looks to continue what it did last year, and they got Ashton Hawkins from Texas State. 874 yards and 3 touchdowns for the Bobcats last year. He was a player under the spotlight for that team in the Sun Belt, and now he looks to take on a bigger challenge in the Big 12. Can he be an explosive weapon for Baylor? Can he be the guy that this offense needs to be explosive and move the ball down the field? We will see, but he is definitely someone that has this coaching staff's attention, and he is just one of those players that if he can put it all together, which I think he can, you're looking at one of the better wide receivers in the conference, and there's plenty of talent around him that will make his life easier too. Safety Kendrick Simmons, who we talked about earlier, is another name to keep an eye on. 50 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks. So a player that is very capable of playing around the line of scrimmage and being disruptive, someone who is very capable of getting the ball back to his offense. Again, when you look at this defense, being disruptive, creating turnovers are going to be two keys to get things going for this defense, as well as getting the ball back to an offense that hopes to be much better than it was last year. Now, I keep saying the offense needs to get better, and when you look at the talent they have coming back, it's easy to see why that's definitely going to happen. Dominic Richardson comes back to join Quan Finn. I think that's an underrated duo in the backfield of Finn and Richardson. Richardson rushed for 519 yards last year and 1 touchdown. I think that he improves on those numbers because this offense takes a step forward. This is an offense that finished 111th and in terms of rush offense. But having a guy like Dominic Richardson is huge for them because they have a couple players behind him that will be able to step up. But he is the undisputed featured back, and having Finn next to him opens up more opportunities for him as well. Now, Monterey Baldwin could be higher on this list. I don't really have any arguments if you think that. 16.4 yards per catch shows exactly how impactful he can be. 623 yards on 38 catches and 4 touchdowns. He's a speedster. Doesn't have the biggest frame, but he is definitely someone that can be a big time impact player. This is an offense that returns plenty of talent. We talked about Ashton Hawkins. We talked about Baldwin. You have Hal Presley coming back. You have Keatron Jackson coming back. This passing attack really has no reason to take a step backwards. In fact, they are going to be a really good group. And obviously, it helps to have Quan Finn. And I think that Finn could improve as a passer once again. Steve Linton was someone who comes from Texas Tech, but comes from Syracuse before that. And I think Texas Tech expected bigger things from him in 2023, and obviously that did not work out. He has a really good frame, though. He has lots of potential at 6'5, 239 pounds. And despite not being the year they wanted, he still had 4.5 tackles for loss and 3 sacks. He is someone who is, I think, still learning the position, and I really like what he can do in Dave Aranda's system. When you look at guys who have different body types, unique body types, Steve Linton fits that category, and Aranda has proven in the past that he knows exactly how to make those guys much better. Now, a player I'm hoping can bounce back in 2024 is Richard Reese. 306 yards and 2 touchdowns was a far cry from what we saw from him as a freshman, but I think that he is set to bounce back in a big way. Like I said, Quan Finn's presence opens things up for this for this offense quite a bit, and it opens things up for the guys around him. Richard Reese is someone who could benefit from that. Obviously, having Dominic Richardson back is going to be a focal point, but Richard Reese is still a big time playmaker who could still do great things for this team if he's able to rediscover his freshman form. Baylor's in good hands. The offense is better. If the defense can take a step forward, then this whole team gets better. And Dave Aranda really needs that. He's kind of on the hot seat a little bit heading into 2024, but he's at least made the right moves to get certain talent to come in, get certain talent to come back. And this should be a better team for Baylor Bears in 2024.